Alright, I'm going to take you guys on a little walk through our intended earthworks for the first stage of development on our property. I'm going to start here up in the front corner. I'll give a kind of quick pan around of what you can expect to see around the edge of our property. And we're right up here at the corner. Our property is kind of a triangular shape, and this is the farthest point towards the road. You can see we have this nice perimeter fence here around everything. And we're going to start with the earthworks just inside this fence. We found our highest, longest swale possible. It's going to extend from this edge of the property all the way to the other side. I think in total it's approximately 800 feet. So it's a pretty long swale. It'll be pretty good for catching water and bringing things down. And Nick, if you see anything on here in the meantime when I'm walking through this that you maybe have suggestions about, I'm sure you'll give them, but feel free to chime in on any of this. So anyway, I'll kind of walk down this line here. You can see the flag kind of starts here. This will be the end of our swale. We'll cap it off, and then we have the contour here marked off with these white flags. I'm going to try and keep the phone up for the most part. I shot this once already, and I went back and watched it and realized I was pointing at the ground the whole time, so it was pretty tough to get a scope of the full size of the project here. So this is going to extend down this way. It's going to go all the way up here until we start getting closer to this internal pasture. And right before that pasture, we'd like to put a pond. And a nice high pond here on the property will be a good place to store overflow catchment that we get in this swale. We can direct it over here, and once the pond is full, it'll back flood up the swale and overflow at the sill, which we intend to put more towards where I started, over towards the end of the property, so we can work it down to the next swale. So this is the general area where we were hoping to have a pond put in. The height of the water will be back here along these flags in the back, and then the front of it will extend this way. The earth mover that we had come out kind of took a look at this and thought that it looked pretty good. We shot it with the laser level, and he said that he has a way that we can work this fence without leaving it exposed. We can bring the level up a little bit so that we can actually run the water through the fence without having to worry about leaving a big hole underneath the fence in case we have small animals. Alright, now we're on the other side of this fence, and you can see the contour line picks up right here, and it carries on down this way. Now, when we got toward this lean-to, we ran into a little bit of a challenge. We noticed that the contour line actually went right through, or right in front of the lean-to. And we figured rather than bringing water catchment into the main dry lot area for the horses, we actually made the decision, or the excavator suggested that we bring it up, probably, I think it was about 6 inches, that we'll actually raise it. And if we do that, we can actually bring the line back over this way. And what the intended purpose of that was to actually keep some water over here to help to hydrate these tree systems back over this way before it actually extends towards the pond. So we'll put a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a block in the water, or in the swale right over here, so that it'll have a chance to fill up a few inches before it actually overflows into the other swale. We may utilize some rocks or something like that to achieve that. But this is actually going to be a little bit higher over here. But rather than having it all just go ahead and drain into this lower portion, it'll have a chance to fill up and keep some of the water over in this area before it extends back towards the north. So while I'm over here, I can kind of bring you around and show you some of these other higher lines too. We have a couple of swales inside the pasture here that also extend through the fence that come along this way, and will probably terminate right about that last flag there. And then this one, a little bit higher up, will work a little bit that way. And the reason we wanted to put those in is we're trying to establish windbreak on this west side, and you know, that's going to be something, and also some visual barrier from the neighbors. So we figured the more swales we can extend out from this outside edge of the property, the easier we'll be able to plant trees across that edge, and you know, they'll have a little bit better supplemental irrigation. So this line then continues this way down here to this flag, and then again breaks through the fence and carries on over here towards the neighbor's barking dog. And you can see the flag there. and then extends out towards the edge of the property there. So we have a pretty good area of catchment up here. We did the numbers and ran it, and it's actually pretty substantial and should be plenty to fill a pond, you know, the size that we're hoping to put up there. So up this way, we can see this contour line that's going to come from there is actually going to extend through this pasture to that flag there, and then over to these 3 flags over this way. And then up at the highest point of the property, we have another line that's going to go from these guys, these flags over here, down here, and then is going to extend off to this corner and basically go all the way back. Ooh, almost hit the fence there. All the way back to that corner. So we should be able to catch some catchment that would normally go off the back of this hill, even right towards the edge of the property. So we're going to set our sills, probably this top swale here, we'll set our sill up about where this 3rd flag is, so that this one discharges down into this swale, so that we can basically direct all of this upper water that it will catch over to that main backbone swale that's going to feed that pond. Alright, and the last thing that we're planning on doing this year yet is going to be another swale down here. This is a little bit further down from our initial swale up there, and we'll set the sill probably right up in that area, which will overflow into this swale over here, which runs out to the edge of the property again, and then again down here, which kind of carries into this area, which eventually I wouldn't mind doing some kind of maybe a zone 2 smaller food forest here, maybe some dwarf trees and stuff a little bit closer to the house. But another thing that we'd like to do is probably put a larger pond more in the center here. I kind of got this visualization of this whole area just being completely enclosed with trees eventually, and having this nice big pond in here, just like a little oasis in the middle of all of this. And you know, eventually, you know, maybe you know, 10-15 years down the road, the trees will be big enough to actually block the view of the highway and the other properties, and you know, we'll have a nice little area here with a nice little pond that maybe we can grow some fish in, or maybe swim in, or you know, there's all kinds of things. So, but I'd like to put another pond down here. You know, it's away from all of our utilities. You can see our electrical box there, and these red flags that run through the property are all of our utilities that run out towards the edge there. So where we have our serious digging going on, you know, the initial pond there, and then the larger pond here, you know, it's free from any of that kind of stuff. But I think that's pretty ambitious for 1 year. I can't imagine us really trying to do too much more, especially planting all of it. We do have about 1,000 bare root trees coming from the State Forest Nursery, all native species, oaks, hickories, poplars, I think some willows, red pine, jack pine, which was all they had left as far as pines, but I really want to get some of those in the ground right away, whether they stay long term or not. But they're cheap, so even if we phase them out eventually, you know, they'll definitely provide some nice wood for us. But that's just you know, the initial plan. We really haven't even gotten to the point of looking specifically at what we want to plant here as far as productive species go. We really just want to make sure that we're on point with the main frame, and make sure that the design and the layout that we have for these first initial earthworks is sound. I feel pretty good about it. The one issue, the one question that I really have is going to be on the west side of the property here. I mean, I would like to see trees planted you know, in a pretty substantial windbreak all along the outside edge. And like we talked about at the workshop, Nick, you know, the front of the property here is kind of a wedge shape, and I would like to plant trees all along this line, the front line, and all along that line with you know, strips here in between that we can graze animals through. But my question is this, you know, obviously we can plant trees into the mound over here, but for the windbreak, you know, doing a polycultured staggered windbreak, how we would go about planting trees on the uphill side of the swale, and whether or not that would even be a good idea. I could see us definitely having some more hardwood species that don't necessarily spread low, and maybe put the pines back in, or vice versa. I'm really not sure what would work best, but you know, I could see us sheet mulching on the